Day 3 of Sixers training camp officially in the books, and today we finally get to hear from Joel Embiid as he reveals some crucial details on how he effectively plans to load manage this season. Also, McCain wows Joel Embiid. That's right, wait till you hear what Embiid has to say about McCain at camp. We also hear from one of the Sixers' newest role players on how he plans to be one of the best defenders on the team, and Nick Nurse comments on Maxey's elevated role in the offense. We'll get into it all, but welcome into Philly Take with RB. I'm RB. This one's presented by BetUS. Go ahead and check them out. Ladies and gentlemen, help us reach our goal of 40K subscribers. Go down below this video and hit that red subscribe button if you do enjoy this content. Appreciate every single one of you. But I want to start it off with something from Paul George. He did a little interview clip here, and he revealed that he was already, quote unquote, feeling Philadelphia during last season's NBA Finals. We remember him going on TV. Maybe that was a publicity stunt. Maybe that's why he did that, right? To get more eyes on it. Joel Embiid gives him the little side eye, and then Daryl Morey starts cooking and gets the job done. PG has been meant for Philly. He wants to be here. He understands the dynamic of playing with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Based on these first 3 days of camp, I don't think I've ever seen higher vibes at a Sixers training camp. Things seem to be fitting in perfectly. Let's go ahead and take an initial look at some footage from day 3 of camp. Shout out to Lauren Rosen. There's Joel Embiid. By the way, he's out there practicing in brown Uggs. Joel Embiid's out there getting some free throws up. We know he's not scrimmaging. We know he's not really practicing much, doing a little bit of drills here and there. But we finally get some footage of Embiid. There's PG, the whole squad getting the work in. Joel Embiid's ready, man. Joel Embiid is ready. Speaking of which, let's talk about Joel Embiid because, again, here's a picture from Kyle Neubeck, a clearer shot. He's got the Uggs on, getting some free throws up. He already shoots almost 90% from the line. The guy continues to get better. Now, I want to talk about what Joel Embiid said regarding his load management, his health this year, and I think this is one of the most prolific statements I've heard thus far at camp. Okay, shout out to Sam D. Giovanni. Joel Embiid on balancing his desire to play with managing the workload. Quote, "They know that if they have to punch me and slap me or take my stuff away from me for me not to get on that court, they're going to have to do it." Tyrese Maxey says, "Oh yeah, that's me, my job." Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Joel Embiid wants to be out there. Say what you want about him, criticize him, whatever. Joel Embiid wants to win more than anybody. He wants to be out on that floor. Last season, hearing all the criticism, right? The Nuggets media and the Warriors and all these other teams were coming at Joel Embiid saying, well, he's trying to duck and he's trying to do this. Joel Embiid wants to be out there with his teammates every single game. And even a quote yesterday came out where he said that he was frustrated with Daryl Morey because every time he is hurt and goes out, nobody can come in and fulfill the job and keep this team afloat. So it almost gives Allen Iverson-esque vibes here. Like they had to take AI's equipment away. They had to literally prevent him from going out on that hardwood floor to play a game. And it's going to be the same thing with Joel. I love his mentality, but I also like how he recognizes, I need to take a step back. I need to chill a little bit. I can't play every game to the fullest. I can't go out there and drop 60 in November every night because it's just not going to sustain itself in the long term. Joel Embiid is willing to do that. He's already not practicing that much here at training camp. Nick Nurse has already kind of laid out a certain plan with Daryl Morey for managing Joel Embiid. It is kind of reminded me of Nurse's year in Toronto, the first year with Kawhi Leonard. So that's what I think we're going to see. There may be games where Joel sits out, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Like he said at Media Day, the #1 goal is to get to the playoffs healthy. Forget everything else. Get them there for one healthy run. Now, Joel Embiid talked about Sixers rookie McCain as well. Yesterday, we heard that McCain was impressing the vets, and he's turning some heads. And we really don't know what his role is going to look like yet. But now I'm starting to think he may take away some minutes from some of these veteran guards on the second unit because now Joel Embiid comes out and advocates for McCain. He calls him, quote, the Sixers' best player in camp so far. Highlights his competitiveness and shooting as things that jumped out right away. As I've been saying the last couple months, and I talked to McCain in the interview at Summer League, the shooting is really what's going to determine how much he can play this season. He's a bit of an undersized guard. Don't know if he can really share the backcourt with Maxey, but one thing is for sure, if you can knock down shots, which this Sixers team has needed from their bench unit for a long time, And you can fit in a Nick Nurse system by doing those things and being an on-ball defender and playing gritty and just find your role into this team. He's going to get some minutes this year, and apparently he is impressing all the vets. Now, again, maybe they could just be saying this to give him some confidence, but now we've heard it from about 3 to 4 people, so I believe the hype. I think Jared McCain's out there proving his role. Now, Nick Nurse talked about the Sixers' chemistry today, and he said it, quote, feels pretty good in training camp. Said he's still in the process of finding out which guys work best in specific roles like inbounding, movement, shooting, etc. Unfortunately, you don't have Nick Batum, who is maybe the best inbound passer of all time. But what we do know is that Nick Nurse actually focuses in on the little things, right? We never heard a Sixers coach talk about the little ins and outs and who's the best at inbounding the basketball. I don't think they ever even practiced that in prior years, but I love Nick Nurse's mentality. And Nick Nurse talked about Tyrese Maxey, who has no ego at all, saying that he is assuming an even larger role in the Sixers offense this season. I feel like I'm saying it every day at this point, but I will continue to. Buy your Tyrese Maxey stock. He is going to be in top 15 conversations this season. I think he's going to be in a little bit of MVP conversations. I don't think he's going to win it because he has 2 other stars on his team. But let me tell you something, okay? We're going to see an even more polished version of Tyrese Maxey. The history shows you year over year how this guy goes leaps and bounds and gets better in every area. And now Nick Nurse is challenging Tyrese Maxey to step up. We heard yesterday, right? He gave him a few coaching points. He took it and immediately implemented it in one day. Tyrese Maxey is going to shock the world this season. Quote, I'm going to continue to push Tyrese to be aggressive, count shots, give him goals to get to, keep raising those up. I think Joel can help with that. We'll have a lot more variety in what we could do offensively. That's a shout out to Paul George right there. So you will see more. This is what pushes players to be great. Some guys can come in based on natural ability and they can be, pretty solid players. They can earn that first big contract. Tyrese Maxey got the money. He is not satisfied. He is not just complacent. He is taking all of this in, and we've been hearing how he's talking. He's taking guys out to dinners. Tyrese Maxey wants to be one of the greats to ever play this game, and I'm so excited. We'll hear a little more from Maxey, and we'll hear from one of the Sixers' newest role players who finally came out and spoke to the media today. But before we do that, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's show. It is BetUS. Ladies and gentlemen, going over to betus.com right now, use the code YouTube150, get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 over on betus.com right now. My odd of the week is this right here. How many players do you think are going to make the All-Star team for the 76ers? That's the question of the day. Will it be Embiid, Maxey, and Paul George? Will it just be 2 of them? What is the most likely scenario? We have seen a couple of these top teams over the last several years where, they do have 3 All-Stars. I think it's pretty hard for all 3 to make the All-Star team, just given, how some have to sacrifice the stats. But I definitely believe all 3 could be capable of making the All-Star team this year. And if they all stay healthy, I have to be confident that at least 2 of them are going to make the All-Star game. So I'm saying either 2 or 3 end up in the All-Star game. I don't even know where it's at this season, but they will be there. So give me your thoughts down below. Who do you think is going to make the All-Star team? And once again, go ahead and check out all these odds. Go take them right now over on BetUS. All right, back to Sixers talk. We have some Caleb Martin quotes today. He highlighted how impressed he is with Paul George thus far. We've heard only good things about PG and his fit. And he says, with PG, he's playing at such a high caliber while still wanting to fit in seamlessly. Quote, he's so willing to learn and fit in and not want to step on toes as well. He's still trying to learn just as much as the next guy, which is pretty impressive. These are really prolific things that I'm hearing about Paul George. He's 34 years old. He's been an all-star many times. He's been the leader of a team, and he's still willing to adapt and fit in and not come in here like, hey, this is my team now. Hey, this is my squad. I should have this much control. I should have this many touches. He's just coming in. Nick Nurse called him a plug-and-play guy. Maxey talked about his fit and all the little things he's doing. And now Caleb Martin says that he's just trying to learn as much as the next guy, not saying too much, just fitting in. This is the perfect third option for this team. Keep in mind, he's a third option. He doesn't have to be the first or the second. Some nights he can, but a third option, as talented as Paul George is. Nurse talked about how good he looks defensively, coming in here and just soaking in all the knowledge. It is very impressive, if I'm being honest. And Caleb Martin also talked about himself today, saying what makes him such an effective defender. Quote, I think I'm pretty good at organizing guys, communicating, letting guys know what's going on behind them so they don't have to turn their heads. I think that's what I thrive with and why it's pretty easy to mesh with new groups pretty fast. Listen, man, Caleb Martin's a winning type player. That's why the Sixers go out and pay him what they did. Miami tried to retain him. They botched that whole situation, and now he ends up in Philadelphia. And, you know, this has always been just a role player. He's always been a guy who is not looked at as one of the top options on the team, but impacts the winning of a game. And he was crucial over there in Miami. Couple big playoff games against the Celtics, a couple big playoff series. And I love the way that everybody seems to be buying in and willing to fit with this team. So, hey, if the Sixers have a guy like Kelly Oubre who can already defend effectively on the perimeter, now they add in another piece like this, also a guy who can put the ball on the floor a little bit and create and score. They are just giving themselves more ammunition this season. Reggie Jackson working on some corner threes after practice. Our first sight of the vet, Reggie Jackson, former NBA champion. Will he have a role in this team? I think it depends what happens with Jared McCain. What about Kyle Lowry? Is one of these guys going to be the odd man out? We haven't seen Kyle yet. We haven't really seen him at all. So I don't know what's going on there. But, hey, Reggie Jackson has had an interesting career trajectory. Sometimes he lands in situations and he just starts going off. So we'll see what Reggie can bring to the table, but another nice vet for Maxey to have. And speaking of Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid talks about Maxey's leadership. Says, quote, he has all the qualities. We all lead in different ways. He touted Maxey's relentless positivity, said that their respective leadership styles, where his is more about doing whatever he has to on the court, are, quote, a perfect match. So again, Joel Embiid isn't always the most vocal guy, but Maxey's starting to develop and blossom into that. Then you have PG. So I think all of their styles mesh together, like he says, but also their playing styles do. And Joel really feels at this point with year 5 Maxey that he can just rely on him. And I think it's something that Joel has never fully felt 100% with some of the other stars that he has played with. So really nice to see Maxey continuing to evolve. He says that Joel is one of his best friends. Guy's really genuine, man. Tyrese Maxey's really genuine. And just to kind of cap it off here, we'll look at one video from today to end it off where Tyrese Maxey takes the mic, as he always does, and in a playful manner, and he interviews Caleb Martin.
Go ahead, bro.
Mr. Martin, you know, you're a stud at your college career. But what do you think you learned from that time in Nevada?
I just know how to win. Get the ball first of all. You know what I mean? I wish we would have messed up with Kentucky.
No, not when I was there. Here you go, Mr. You played.
I mean, you got to love Tyrese, man. You got to love him. The guy is so likable. Even Caleb Martin, you know, understanding that this is a joke and just playing around. I'll be honest. Again, the vibes have not been this high to Sixers training camp in a very long time. The guys are getting along, and it feels like in recent years, they've still been learning how to win, where it's like now you brought in the final couple chess pieces that have either won or have been, you know, very close to winning, and already can teach some of these other guys how to do that, right? And just have that knowledge and experience. Like, this is nothing new for this team, and they just seem a lot more confident. So I'm excited to see what happens. Give me all your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to BetUS. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.